let's leave it there and get into some questions. I probably just lost all of you after that, so I might clip this and change it into a different podcast and do a Q&A by itself. All right, so again, big thanks to everybody that have submitted a question for the podcast. A lot of good questions. Again, most of these questions are going to come back to last episodes that are going to help me answer them. So let's get into it. What's the single biggest mistake you've seen beginners make in the gym? Not wearing the right shoes. I'd say probably just doing too much too soon. When it comes to beginning in the gym, you're trying to create a routine and a habit. And people are like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. I had a consult with a guy the other day, and he wants to, do a front lever. He wants to build muscle. He wants to tone up, and he wants to do like a marathon or something like that. I'm like, just hold on, relax. Choose one. And then we dived into why he wanted to do that one and focus on that one. I'm not saying you can't do all of them, but to try and do 3 or 4 different modalities at once is just going to set you up for failure, because whatever you spend the most time doing is what is going to improve. But if that time is split over 4 different things, you're spending, half an hour, 40 minutes on one thing a week, you're not really going to get anywhere. Where if you spent 40 minutes 4 times a week spending it on that one certain thing, you're spending a lot more time trying to achieve that goal in a short amount of time, so you'll achieve that goal faster. So all I'd say is just chill, choose one thing, and even if you're not sure why you're getting into the gym and doing it, just create a habit. Like I'd say journal about how you're feeling, why, again, try and find your why, and just journal on about how you're feeling and how your life is improving, and you'll start seeing evidence of why you're doing it and how it's improving your life. So biggest mistake is just, people doing too much or trying to do too much too soon. Just chill, choose one. It's okay. You've got plenty of time, and you will get there if you just spend enough time on that one goal. How do you balance discipline and flexibility so life doesn't feel like a punishment? Life should not feel like a punishment doing things that help you live a long, healthy, happy life. I think that comes from restricting too much. When it comes to this, I'd rather see you add things in rather than restricting. So let's just say, I don't know, usually the punishment comes from restricting diets. So we'll talk about food for a second. So usually when somebody explains to me what they're eating, we go over their daily intake of food, and it's like, oh, what do I have to cut out? I don't want to cut anything out. I like this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's add something in. I was having a conversation about soft drink with somebody, and they just drink way too much soft drink. I'm like, okay, let's just double soft drink and a glass of water. We're not taking away the soft drink and they're not freaking out because they're losing their soft drinks. We're just adding a glass of water in, and then maybe we could add a piece of fruit in. It's just find things that you can add in to those things that you already enjoy doing and you don't want to lose. And eventually you might be able to switch it around and go, okay, taking away, half a glass of soft drink and a full glass of water. And then it's a quarter and then a full glass of water. And then eventually it might disappear. But it's okay if it doesn't. Again, this is a journey, and you're going to find what works for you and what doesn't. Don't see it as a punishment. As soon as you're sort of trying to punish yourself, it's just not going to work, because you're going to push back against your feelings, all that sort of stuff. So don't see it as a punishment. Be flexible. Like we were back at Cosmos's thing about resilience. Acceptance and flexibility is the best resilience. So be flexible, but also understand if all you're drinking is soft drink, you're going to be very unhealthy, unfit, and feel like shit all the time. So if you can start adding things in that will help you feel better, add them in. Don't take away, just add them in. Don't know if that answered that question. how should I structure my workouts if I'm only working out 3 days per week? You jump on the Trueform community and follow the program there. Generally, I structure that. I'll talk about how I structure that program, because I think, again, that program's just a good, well-rounded program for everybody to follow. You're not necessarily going to be able to step on a bodybuilding stage or improve a sport. It's just a well-rounded workout program for everybody to follow, for the general public to feel healthy, move better, and just live a better life. So I usually structure it Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays are gym days, so strength days, and they're full body days. So if you're only working out 3 days a week, I'd recommend full body. So I'd say Mondays and Fridays would be full body workouts. So that means working every single muscle group in the body. If you're not sure how to do that, you're probably going to need to get help or reach out to a personal trainer close to you, in the gym you go to, all that sort of stuff, and just get them to help you understand what a full body workout should look like. Most of them will probably push back and go, nah, do a split, do a full body. If they're pushing you to do a split, like a chest on Monday, back on Wednesday, and legs on Friday, just find a different personal trainer. I'm not saying that that's bad, but if you're only working out 3 days a week, then you need to optimize what you're doing in the gym, and full body is going to get you better results. So understand what a full body workout is. Do that on the Monday and a Friday. It can be the same workout, or it can be 2 different full body workouts, whatever you want to do. And then on the Wednesday, I would strongly recommend cardio. I'd probably do 30 to 40 minutes of zone 2 long endurance cardio. So that's where you're just getting it's almost like light cardio. You can almost have a conversation, but you're still sweating. You're still getting a bit of a heart rate up, all that sort of stuff. That's probably going to be about zone 2. And then I'd finish that workout with maybe a 10-minute interval training. So jumping on the air bike or some sort of machine where you can do 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off, like your Tabata style, or changing it up and doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, but just 10 minutes of high intensity. So you've just done your long endurance, and then you do your interval smash out at the end for 10 minutes. If you can do more than that, you probably haven't worked hard enough through the workout. But 2 days of strength, 1 day of cardio. And then again, like if you're super unflexible and you've only got 3 days to work out, you're probably going to focus on a little bit more flexibility in those workouts. Again, find out what you need to work on and spend a little bit more time on that goal, rather than trying to do 3 different goals in each workout during the day. Like that consult I was talking about with the guy, where he's trying to do gymnastics, bodybuilding, all this sort of stuff, strength training in the 1 week. Focus on one and do that more often, and you'll reach your goal a whole lot quicker. What's one daily habit that helps you stay consistent long term? Sleep. I can't stress that enough. Like, forget everything else. If you have got long-term goals, if you're here and you've been listening to me carry on for so long, you want to find your true form, focus on your sleep. That's one habit that is going to give you far more benefits than any other habit that you can do. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, focus on those pillars at the start and the end of the day, and that is the one thing that will help you get results or stay consistent long term. As soon as your sleep turns to shit, your consistency turns to shit, and you will stop doing the things you need to achieve your goals. I can guarantee that, because I've done it myself, and I see a bunch of you doing it as well once the sleep sort of starts getting blown out a bit. All right. What's the difference between training for strength versus aesthetics, and how do I know which one to focus on? Okay, that just goes back to that other episode. Like, what are your goals? Whatever the goals are, just start focusing on that. When it comes down to strength and aesthetics, like how you look and how strong you are, there is correlations there, but there are different programs you can follow. It just, again, like, choose one. You can do a bit of both at the same time. If you follow the Trueform workout in the community, you'll probably be hitting both at the same time. Again, I've been doing this long enough, and I've seen it done over that many clients. I know that sweet spot that'll get you both. Sometimes we focus on one or the other in the program, but generally it's both. It's just a little bit funner and you just get a little bit more better results. But which one should you focus on? It's up to you, whatever you want. What are your goals? What's one nutrition habit that has had the biggest difference for my clients? I'd say breakfast. A lot of clients and people I have consults with, they just don't eat breakfast. The old saying, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's still true. It is the most important meal of the day. But most of the advice I'd give to people is don't change your breakfast, add something in. And this is where a lot of people are like, supplements. I think I've got a question in here about supplements and that sort of stuff. But most people aren't eating enough protein, especially at breakfast. It's a piece of toast with, some sort of spread on there, or it's a piece of toast and an egg. So that's about 8 grams of protein. And you should be getting about 40 grams of protein before lunchtime, maybe 50 grams, depending on how big you are. So having a protein shake with that piece of toast is automatically just going to bump their protein intake up by 200%. So that's where a supplement might be worth. Most people are rushed and they're trying to get stuff done in the morning, or they sleep in. They haven't got time to cook breakfast. So I'm not going to say, all right, you need to prepare your breakfast, chop it all up, cook it, have this amazing omelette with a bit of meat and veggies and all this sort of stuff, and then put a little bit of stuff on the side to bump it up. No one's going to do that, especially if all they got time to do is make toast. So that's where a protein shake might come in handy. So but then when you're working with me, I'd still try and change that from a piece of toast to adding some actual food to the toast, and then maybe prepping some breakfast so it's not such an effort to have a good, healthy breakfast. So we're still going to change that habit over time. I don't just want you eating toast and not eat real food in your breakfast. So again, over time, we're going to turn that into a good, solid breakfast. But again, not taking away anything, adding something in, and then slowly changing that habit over time. So breakfast would be the biggest difference thing you can do and that's one thing I usually focus on with my clients. Once breakfast is sorted, you either go to the next meal that's struggling, whether it's dinner, lunch, snacks, that sort of stuff. How do you stay motivated when life gets busy and stressful? To be honest, I don't. And I think that's a big misconception, and it goes back to Fahid's episode of you're only going to be optimal 10% of the time. And sometimes that 10% is like 10% over a week. So it might just be a couple of hours in one day for the whole week. Like when I'm stressed and I've got a lot on during the day and I've hardly got time, there's only certain things I'll focus on, and I'm not getting anything done, and I am stressed, and life is hard, but it's just I'll focus on the things you do. You're going to eat, so try and make the best decisions around food that you can do. Again, best in that situation. So instead of going for deep fried chips and all that sort of stuff, try and get a salad or just something a little bit more healthier. You're going to sleep, although the sleep might not be as much as what you normally get in those unstressful time, busy times. Whatever sleep you are getting, optimize it. So make sure the room is cold, dark, then there's no devices in the room, all that sort of stuff. So optimize the sleep because you are sleeping. You're going to be drinking liquids, so don't drink your calories, drink water, which reminds me. So just little things like that. You're going to be doing things, just optimize the things you are doing. So if I know a stressful couple of days are coming up and I'm not going to have time to cook, I'll probably prep a few meals or just cook a little bit extra in the meals I am, so I have those leftovers for those days. I will usually try and block out some sort of time for movements, and that could just be a 10-minute yoga or a quick little walk or something like that. Or if I haven't got time and I'm going to a certain destination, I'll make sure I walk to that destination instead of getting public transport or an Uber or something like that. So just, again, little things like you're not going to stay motivated. You're not going to be optimized in those stressful situations, and that's okay. Just optimize for what you can do. Like those stressful times, those busy times will pass, but just optimize for what you can control in those times. I think that's a big misconception that, for myself, everybody's like, oh, you're so motivated all the time. No, I'm not. I just, again, have certain things in play so when I'm not motivated, they just keep going. But again, that's going to look different for you. So find out what works. Do supplements really matter, or should I focus on food first? Food first. Supplements are there to supplement what you're missing in your diet. So again, like I used that example for breakfast, if you're not eating any protein for breakfast, a protein shake might be quite handy. But if you're getting plenty of protein in real food, which is what I try and get my clients to do, you don't need that protein shake. So again, what really matters with supplements is what you're missing. And they're there to supplement your diet, not replace food. All right, a couple of podcasting questions, I guess you could say. What inspired you to start the True Form podcasts? Again, I'm just a big fan of finding my true form. Life is quite difficult to navigate. There's a lot of weird things happening in the world, but I love life. I want to live a long, healthy, happy life, and I want to take you along for the journey. And that's what inspires me, and that's what keeps me going episode after episode. And maybe that inspires me during those busy times where I'm not that motivated or stressed. Has a guest ever changed your perspective or on something important? Yeah, all the time. Like pretty much every guest I get on, I stop and think and try and, again, implement things. And that's why I created the community behind the episode, because I was getting these guests on. I'm like, oh, that's a good lesson to learn. How do I implement it? I try and implement it, do my best, and then put it out in the community and see what works and start changing things from there. So pretty much every episode, like, it might just be something super simple of, I don't know, have not got an example for you. I should have had an example ready. But it might just be something super simple, and that's fine. Like it could just be a 30-second cold shower changes the way your mind thinks in the morning, and it might just sort of flick a couple of switches, something simple like that. So it doesn't have to be life-changing every single episode. It's just those tiny little things, those 1%ers from each episode that start adding up to bigger and bigger things over time. Last one. What's one thing you've learnt from your own health journey that you wish you knew earlier? I've always been big on sleep. So even back in the day when I had a gym and I was working stupid amount of hours and all that sort of stuff, I'd still prioritise sleep. So sleep isn't really something that I'd go back and tell myself. I'd probably say food, but again, food changes over time as you get old. Like what I'm eating now would be different to what I was eating when I'm 20, but both things are optimal for then. Like your body changes and your metabolism changes over time. So what worked for me when I was 28 isn't really going to work for now when I'm 38. So I don't know. Good question. I'll turn that around to you. What's one thing that what you've learned and you would have changed earlier? Maybe consistency. I know through my mid-20s I wasn't as consistent in the gym. I'd sort of still hit it here and there, but I wasn't consistently doing it at least once a week or doing something once a week for a couple of years there. I'd do like a month or two straight and smash it and then not go for 6 months or something like that, where it would have been better just to split those 2 intense months up over once a week for a year rather than just not going for 6 months. That's probably a good lesson to learn. Other than that, I don't know. All right, it's been over an hour, so I am going to leave you all alone. If you're here and you enjoyed it, please let me know what you think, questions, but I'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from the episodes. Your takeaways from the episodes help me find new guests, what direction the podcast can go in, because I know if you're getting takeaways on that topic, I can get a guest on that topic, which is going to help you find your true form. So any takeaways from the podcast, I want to hear them, even if it's just thoughts, theories. Again, if I'm asking questions that sort of upset you in a certain way, like I did with the kids one, don't be afraid to share your opinion. Again, I want to ask better questions, and if they're upsetting you, then they're not very good questions. So I need to improve the way I think about asking questions and putting them in the right way that don't upset people. So again, if you're one of those people, I apologise, but I'm glad you're still here. All right, that'll do. See you all in the next episode.